anything.
I concur.
Yep.
So, and Frank is the 1 seed, so he's gone first every round in top cut, guaranteed, and he's won.
Awesome. Yeah, big
But
surprise
going
when you
first,
have the ability to make Dark
Yeah,
Claw.
when you can go Dark Claw, when you're always going first, which like in Swiss he wasn't always going first, so
Yeah.
he managed to get the 1 seed. I don't know if he was undefeated. I don't know if he was X1 and got in on
I
breakers.
think he was undefeated.
Okay. But he opens. Wait, is that? That's E-call. Oh yeah, he was okay.
E-call for
Yeah, the way he put it on the field, I was like, that doesn't look like Hero Lives.
he opened his last game on stream.
Yeah, I mean
Last
here,
match,
yeah, like if
but-
you open Hero Lives, like that's just a 1-card Dark Wall. Like you pay 4,000, but I'd pay 4,000 to win the game.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like life point, like I don't care if I'm paying half my life and my opponent can play 0 of the cards in his hand.
Frank was
usually.
X1 in Swiss, so
Okay,
there
he
was no
X1.
undefeateds.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So he got in on got in. He was first ever Swiss because of tiebreakers, I guess. So that's fine still. Well, this is okay. Instant fusion probably, and then desires. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Draw 2. And Bubble Man's here. If he draws another Bubble Man or an instant fusion, then he makes Bahamut Shark for a Toad, and it's pretty good. Someone asked how I did I lost my first 2 rounds because I was stupid, and then won out from there, and then was the lowest X2 on tiebreakers and didn't top. Oops.
Unfortunate.
I should have just been less stupid in round 2. Like round 1 I lost, like unavoidable. Round 2 I did not. I think I misplayed and lost. So my fault.
So he also did have the instant.
Okay. He already had instant fusion. All right. So he gets to make a Bahamut Shark with Bubble Man and Norden, and then he has the Shadow Mist floating.
Does he main anti-spell? Because it looks like he might have that.
Do we have his deck list?
We do.
Okay. Can I see it?
That's Mark's deck. This is Frank.
Okay, Frank's. He
Emptiness.
means Floodgate, Trap Hole, Treacherous, Bottomless, Solemn Strike. All right, so he gets Toad. He gets Toad, Dark Law, and then he has a Shadow Mist that's like floating. So even if he doesn't have a level 4, he still just has a floater that searches a Bubble Man when it dies, which like can give more resources later. So not knowing Mark's hand, I'm pretty sure he loses game 1.
You're good.
Like, so. Yeah.
It's a good
It
estimation.
is not. Well, he had to play Pendulum Scale,
Scale.
and
Yeah, you're fine.
that's bad. Unless he can Pendulum Summon unless he hard drew Kieran and can Pendulum Summon it right now, and there is no interruption, and both of those traps are not anything that stops anything, this game is looking pretty over. So that's unfortunate for Mark.
Looks like 3 metal if I was in strike.
Strike. Strike going second is not that good. Strike is actually one of the few cards in his deck that can pretty efficiently beat Dark Law, but the fact that it requires it to be set a turn means that you're probably dying before then. That's what most of these, like, I think that's what sets like Heroes and Mermail apart from the Paleozoic deck, which is that they make Toads to basically buy time and then just like float resources, and if they just can buy like if they can just buy like 1 turn, so this Toad is basically guaranteed stopping him for at least a turn, which means he has a turn where Dark Law is not getting answered, and then he can probably just game his opponent on the next turn, which I don't think Paleozoics need pretty specific cards to do, like a lot of frog monsters, a lot of like more like proactive cards. But he's playing a pretty proactive deck. Like all the monsters in his deck are very proactive, and then he just like buys time with traps, and then you can buy 1 or 2 turns. You can just kill them. So setting a strike and trying to strike the Dark Law's effect if he searches something, like I say strike is a good answer to Dark Law, where if you search and then Dark Law activates the banish card from your hand, you strike it, and it's one of the only cards in your deck that very efficiently just like 1-for-1s the Dark Law.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he has any cards in his deck that search. Like the only cards in his deck that I think actually search are like painful decision, which I'm pretty sure you can't even you can activate it under Dark Law, but you can't actually search anything because you have to send the vanilla to the graveyard, and if you actually send it to the graveyard, you add one. So I don't know if he's playing Summoner's Art.
Does Dark Law does it have to be a search card or just add to hand?
Add to hand.
So it would work on Desires.
Yes, it would work on Desires, and then you strike it. But if he sets Strike and then, you know, does Bismuth Gear? Okay, yeah. So it got destroyed, so it'll search the end phase. Anyway, and then he has to strike it. But because even if he like crashes with a Dark Law here, he doesn't really. He had the Pendulum summon just a Vol Flame, so he crashes with the Dark Law, and then if Frank drew any monsters, then he gets to make another rank 4 with Shadow Mist, and then gets to search a Bubble Man and Treacherous. Okay, well. This is pretty over. Yeah. Yep. Oh, Bunbuku, yes. If he summons Bunbuku to search Kieran and then strikes Dark Law, yeah. But this was he's looking pretty over. Treacherous for 2 is pretty good. And these will both get banished, yeah. So that was pretty over. That was a pretty good opening hand from Frank.
It was slightly above average.
Slightly above average opening hand from Frank. Drawing Treacherous is actually Treacherous is an interesting card since Rafflesia got printed, because if you draw it as your first trap, it's actually just an absurd trap. And then Rafflesia sends it obviously. As long as you have not activated a trap earlier in this game. So the only time it's actually bad is if you hard draw it after you've used traps, because you can search it now. It's crazy. I've thought for a while that Rafflesia is a very interesting card. I think Rafflesia was actually my favorite card from Briggers of Shadows, because it has when I thought about the application of Treacherous. It was such an interesting card in the format it came out, and and there haven't really been too many rank 4 decks since
the big
list where
Pendulum.
Yeah, since and even after the adjusted list, there were still you could still play that deck and it was very good and it won most of the YCSs.
Yeah.
Or won all the YCSs, I think, even after the adjusted list. But after the list where Ignister went to 1 and Draco Face Off went to 1, and then it shifted to the Sky Iris build, it was less rank 4 based. And Rafflesia hasn't really seen too much play since then, because there haven't really been a rank 4 deck. It was BA, which is a rank 3 deck, then Monarch, and then Cosmo. But Rafflesia is such an interesting card because it is defensive, obviously, because you send Bottomless or Time Space to just be a good trap, send it from your deck. But it can also be an offensive card where you can summon it into a board, and then you can, as a spell speed 2 effect, send Treacherous, because the condition for activating Treacherous is any time. And you just summon it into a board, and then just Treacherous their 2 monsters. And then, so it breaks their board, and then it's also just a Bottomless from your deck.
Yeah.
That you don't have to draw because it's in your extra deck. You just make it with 2 level 4s. But so I just think if you're playing a rank 4 deck and you can Instant Fusion, especially if you're playing a deck that supports Instant Fusion, which heroes do now quite well.
I don't think there's a rank 4 deck that would not play Instant Fusion for Noden.
Yeah, I mean ABCs at first didn't, but I think that now it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
But I think in Japan they banned Norden before Tree Toad came out. I think that with Bahamut Shark, Norden is getting a little bit too strong, which I didn't think. I thought when Norden got banned in Japan, I thought that was a little bit extreme. We got it so much later than them, so I was they've had it for a lot longer. Maybe it had been a problem in their format, but I think it was preemptive to stop this kind of stuff from happening, which is.
What's the better card to hit, Noden or Instant Fusion?
You were on.
I mean, but like
What is
ban
that,
Instant Fusion,
legal?
or
Yes.
like oh that's interesting.
Yeah, he
Because
was.
I think like limiting Instant Fusion isn't really a solution to the problem. Like I don't know why they limited Norton. Like that was so like some people.
Yeah,
like,
people
you
played
played
one.
one or you played two, but like that didn't like that wasn't why that wasn't
The
why it
two
was good.
wasn't like
Like
game breaking.
I mean like when I played the last time I think I played Instant Fusion. When Norton was at 3, I played it in Necros, and I actually only played 2 copies of it because you never wanted to draw 2 copies of Instant Fusion. But because then your hand, because usually bricked, it was just like a late game thing to like kill them. But like now, in like Mermail and Heroes, they're still playing 3 copies of Instant Fusion even with only 1 Norton because it is just so powerful. It doesn't matter. Like if you can play to
Just
some
need to draw
degree,
it.
if you just draw it, you probably win. Like it's just a powerful card. But so banning Instant Fusion would be interesting. I guess they could like I don't. It would be the same as banning Norton. Because if Norton gets banned, I don't think there will be like the only like. I guess Instant Fusion saw play in some decks to summon like in like Infernity to get extra level 3s or extra level 4s
Yeah.
for like Levier or for Revolval Chain. But I feel like if Norton got banned, Instant Fusion could still be like a utility card that like would be fair. But Norton is just like kind of unfair. And without Super Poly, there's no way you're actually like summoning Norton with actual summoning conditions. So if they banned Instant Fusion and brought back Super Poly to 1 for some reason, then I could, like, if that was their plan, like, I could understand. Like, they want Norton to exist to support Super Poly, but don't want it to exist, but don't want Instant Fusion to exist, then that's, like, fine. But if they don't bring back Super Poly, I don't see a point to getting rid of Instant Fusion and then keeping Norton. So that was a pretty... Did he Pendulum Summon already? Yeah, that was a pretty underwhelming Pendulum Summon from Mark.
Yeah.
He Pendulum Summon 1 Vol Flame.
He went
And
painful
then-
decision into
Yeah.
desires and not the
I
best.
hope the other cards in his hand are just
Traps are maxi.
are just strikes, which they might be.
It looks
Oh,
like at least 2
okay.
were traps.
At least
All right.
one
This
strike,
got
I'm
a
gonna
lot.
say.
Yeah, this got a lot better.
Draw.
I think a monster bigger than
Let's take a look at what traps.
Stand by hand.
Yeah.
Which one? He's 15. 1, 2, 3. There we are.
I know he's playing Ariadne, so he's just
playing
playing three
three
strikes in the
strike
warning.
warning,
Yeah, so he drew at least 2 of them, and
Look at this side deck.
that's probably. Oh yeah, is it Sangan counter traps or any other traps? Emptiness,
Typhoon,
Typhoon.
Twisters, Space Typhoon, Emptiness.
No. Okay, so maybe it's Emptiness, but all right. He's warning Goblinberg, and I guess Frank needs a Hero Lives, which would be odd to summon Goblinberg first before activating a Hero Lives.
You could make
He
the
does have
argument he
instant
was
fusion.
He was
Baiting out
trying
the
to bait out the
warning,
warning. Yeah, maybe, yeah. But that would mean he had to draw the one of warning instead of a strike. But
yeah.
he could have Instant Fusion, I guess, is why I was looking through his extra deck.
He does.
Okay, Instant Fusion, but then he's making like a subpar Exceed. That will get strike probably, or Norton will get strike, most likely. And then Mark can then like pop one of his cards and then counter for probably another Vol Flame, and then like this is the same thing that I think I was saying last game, where like if you just have enough traps, like traps right now, there aren't many of them that are good, but the good ones are so insane that just 1 or 2 of them can usually end your opponent's turn. And then if you just get like 1 or 2 turns, every deck right now can pretty much just kill you. So if he doesn't have a strike, which would be interesting.
Battle.
Wow. That went through. I'm actually surprised
No,
that went through. And then he can't use counter because it was Utopia Lightning. So, now if Frank has a lot of trap cards, then he gets to stall, and then Utopia Lightning will just kill Mark.
You know what the damage was?
He's at 100 because he didn't use Lightning's effect, so he just took 100.
Just took 100.
Yep. Okay, so Envy's combination. So you can pop the combination with Vol Flame, Searcher Scale, and then Pendulum Summon some stuff, which will, unfortunately, probably get Striked or Floodgated, Trap Hold, or something of the sort. Typhoon. Oh no. All right. Well, this guy got Typhooned. This is looking a lot worse. Okay, counter. All right. So that counter came from his hand that I thought was a strike. So I guess warning was his only defensive trap.
And it looks like he has eccentric in hand as well.
Yeah, I think he just drew eccentric probably.
Yeah.
Wall flame. Solid. Painful decision. Okay, so we drew double painful. Same. So he drew 2 painful decisions, so we couldn't use them both in the same turn. Yeah, oops. But he's getting to grind through. If that were to bait out another back row, like the eccentric could hit one of the back row, if that's what he has to do. So then he just has to hope he can pendulum someone into one back row, I guess, and hope it's not like, and hope it's basically just not strike. But I don't know I don't know what he set first. What like the first card he set was off of the first metal foe. Because the other option he has is if it was Metal Foe's Fusion, which it probably was, that'll probably bait a back row, which is like the same thing that Eccentric would do. So you could probably Metal Foe Fusion with the Vol Flame and Eccentric for Mithrilium to bounce the Utopia, which will probably bait a back row if the back row is real, which would then mean that Mithrilium might float into another Metal Foe, and Metal Foe Fusion will draw a card. Okay, so that's what happened, I guess. He didn't have anything to stop the Mithrilium and the Pendulum Summon. So, yeah.
But now he gets to go first again.
Now Frank gets to go first again.
Which we saw is pretty good.
Yeah, his deck is good at going first, I would say. So unfortunately, I think this match will come down to if Frank bricks, basically. So I don't think I would expect Heroes to make it this far. Not because the deck is not powerful. I think the deck is very, very powerful. I'm not sure. Like, I haven't played it enough to know really how consistent it is compared to the other decks. But
from what I've seen, it's pretty good at opening Dark Law.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, like it's pretty good at opening Dark Law. Which that's the thing about Dark Law is that you don't even necessarily need to open like insane with like Dark Law and Toad.
Yeah, you have plenty of ways to get to it.
Yeah, if you can just make a Dark Law, like sometimes that's enough. Which is
maybe some traps.
Yeah. You know, if you can just like there are cards in your deck, you can make 1 or 2 card Dark Laws and then just get one or 2 traps, or a trap monster. Not a trap monster, but like a monster that functions as a trap card, like Toad or Rafflesia. Then you're set. Can I see Frank's side deck actually? Do we have that?
Yep. We got all the deck lists.
All right. Darkle. Okay, so he's siding 3 anti-spell, so he can actually just draw anti-spell too.
Yeah. Pretty good card against Metal Foes.
Yeah. And he was siding. I guess we saw the Typhoons last game. Typhoon's actually really good. Because I wasn't so fond of it before Invasion Vengeance, but with Bismugear, if they have Bismugear, unless they're specifically playing around Typhoon, you will always put Bismugear as your second to last scale, so you can Pendulum Summon, and then the last scale pops Bismugear, so then you get your end phase search. So when they play Bismugear, and then like pop their scale, and then they play their 1 scale that goes with the Bismugear, if you just Typhoon the 1 scale, because they probably weren't playing around Typhoon, like maybe they will now because the card is seeing a lot more play. Bismugear basically like signals when they have to Typhoon to just stop your play entirely. And when you get Typhoon and you can't Pendulum Summon turn 1, you just have like fusion, full fusion, like combination, and you can do nothing on your first turn. And then they have 5 cards to kill you or they basically just get to go first now, and they get a battle phase.
I need to draw one. How's Jackie doing?
I think
How's Jackie doing?
I think Mark's best chance
Jack
here is to open with the Kaiju he sides for Dark Law.
Humongous.
Yeah, Humongous for the Dark Law, and then just hope the rest of his cards can play through a Toad or play through, you know, 1 or 2 back row.
Yeah, I think he sides 2 Twin Twisters.
Oh, that's twin? That's not something I usually see in Metal Foe. I'm actually not entirely sure why. Like, Metal Foe is interesting because twin is obviously insane. Like, twin is basically phased out MST for almost every deck, except pendulum decks for some reason. I'll attempt to explain, but for the reason that I can figure out is that like a lot of pendulum decks, like the mechanic of pendulum is like every pendulum card you have, you try to like pop and like get advantage, and then like pendulum them back, and you try to like just like get as much advantage as possible. But it's all like on field advantage, not like hand advantage. So discarding cards isn't something you can usually like support. When Twin Twister like first came out, there was a debate about like, is Twin Twister really good? Like Twin Twister just kind of like, when you draw MST, do you really want to make another card in your hand MST? And usually the answer is like, yes, you just make the worst card in your hand, MST, and it's fine. But in Pendulum, you actually like don't really want to draw 2 MSTs. You want to draw, like
Unless
1
you
MST for their Floodgate, for their anti-spell, and then a bunch of Pendulum cards.
Unless you can do something like Instant Fusion,
Yeah.
where you want something in the grave, but most
Pendulum decks, I guess, except for the Break the Shadows Pendulum, that was more just like a level 4 deck that like included the pendulum mechanic. Okay, well, Bubble Man set 3.
So this is a scenario.
This is a scenario where Mark can win. And he opened Banbuku. This is exactly what he needed. I think this was the only way Mark was winning this match, is if Frank bricked game 1 or game 3.
And this is perhaps why heroes do not often make it far.
Yeah, yes, because this happened. Like, I'm not gonna say it's common for this to happen, but like this happens enough of the time where. Okay, so he does have mass change for Acid. I guess his play was that was actually a really good play by Mark. Not a very obvious play actually, to bait the mass change on the Bubble Man. To make sure that he can't use mass change to basically Feather Duster on his scales. So now he's going to main phase 2, start playing scales, and then go off. So it wasn't. Oh wow! And he had a twin. Wow. Woo. Okay. I think this that was a great play.
This is very clear
and I think Mark's gonna take this one. Yeah, that was a very heads-up play with the Banbuku attacking into the Bubble Man to make sure that his Pendulum Summon will go through. and I think he knows. I think he knows that he won this, so he's getting really excited.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, he's playing really fast. Usually when people realize they win, they start playing really fast and they get really nervous.
Sometimes they mess up though.
Yeah, they do mess up, but this is a hard one to mess up now. And he even has what he could probably he can even just go Kieran, bounce back, eccentric, and then he gets eccentric back in his hand too, which is crazy.
All right, now riddle me this. Why isn't Mistake seeing play?
Every deck searches.
Does every deck search? Like, I just think if Metal Foe searched instead of setting, then that would have been, But I guess the only thing that really stops a Metal Foe is like combination and painful decision and like Summoner's Art. But I don't know. I mean, Mistake is road search. Like, I guess it searches Banbuku. I mean, like Banbuku, but like most of the Metal Foe. Yeah. All right. Well, Mark won. But
yep.
I just think the reason Mistake isn't seeing play is because there are better floodgates. Not because Mistake is bad, but because what could be in that Mistake card slot could be anything else.
I love you,
yeah.
Drew!
All right, well, that's that like two.
I'm sorry, sir.
That might have like seemed obvious. I don't think the Bambuku attacking over Bubble Man. I don't think the Bubble Man or the Bambuku attacking over Bubble Man was an obvious play in any regard. So I think that was like knowledge of what heroes can do and knowing that Acid kind of beats your Pendulum deck. So congratulations to Mark for making it to the finals.
Yep. Next up, we're gonna have Justin Seen versus
It's like,
Patrick
oh my
Patrick.
gosh. Like everything you do in this is just like, it destroys my deck. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Just needed a little like better.
Your hand is just bad. I was just like, it's like.
We should get to that match pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What are the seeds for Justin and Patrick?